Hello, guys. This is Ethan Bias. This is the Divine Empire podcast. Today, I have two very special guests with me here. I have Kenny, who is a psychic medium on TikTok. I also have Morgane, who is also a psychic medium on TikTok. I will list both of their usernames in the link tree or wherever you can find this below. But today, I decided to invite them as my very first guests to come on and talk about all things spirituality, all things mediumship, all things that is involved in just personal life with this work as well. Because I know that sometimes, as being a medium or, a psychic or just a healer in general, there can be a lot of interesting things that happen in life with this work. And so today I have Kenny. If you would like to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your platform and what you do, go ahead if you'd like to.
Sure. So my name is Kenny. I and Morgan own Intuitive Guidance together. We met each other through TikTok, and we just like the way that we both practice similarly. I primarily have a healthcare background. I'm a mental health nurse practitioner and have 16 years of experience in the medical field. And we combine mental health and healing together, but a big part of it is through mediumship and psychic abilities as well. So I'll let Morgan.
Thank you. So my name is Morgan. I am also a psychic medium on TikTok. My primary, I think, modality or the focus of what I do is really the healing aspect, the energetic healing. And as Kenny mentioned, a lot of what we do, even with the psychic and mediumship, is healing folks in a different way, in a spiritual way, in an emotional way. So that is really the driving force for me being involved in this work. And certainly, as we all know, everyone is always developing. You'll never, reach some higher platform until we get outside of this particular physical existence. So yeah, that's me.
Well, thank you guys. I've joined Kenny's lives a few times, and I see you, Morgan, on there as well. And it's really beautiful the way that you guys do your work because I see how Kenny is very, involved with the people, and both of you are very, just very warm to people. And I see a lot of, mediums who are more so in it for just doing things for money or things for whatever. But when I come on to like your lives or see your reposts from your lives on TikTok, it's like you guys just give such grace and ease to people because that's what people really need with this type of work. Especially when you're giving mediumship readings, it's a type of love and healing that people should deserve when they get a reading. So what does that mean for you, Kenny, like when you are doing your mediumship readings, and you're able to help heal these people? It's not just about doing the reading, but you're also providing a sense of peace and healing in people's lives. So what does that mean for you?
I guess for me, the biggest thing is when you're privileged enough to be able to make a connection like that, that it's so important that you get the message across exactly how it's supposed to go. Even sometimes when it's kind of a hard message to give. And for me, particularly, loss in this world is not final. And when we pass away, sometimes everyone has their own beliefs, and I'm perfectly fine with people having their own beliefs, and what that is to them and what makes them comfortable is okay. But to me, just making that connection and making everyone feel welcomed is huge.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Makes sense.
Right. And that's a beautiful thing to, really have within the work that you do and anyone that does this work. And of course, like you mentioned, there is also many people who have their own opinions and have different beliefs in this type of work, or just outside of this work, whether that's religion, like different religion groups. And I also want to ask both of you if you'd like to, pitch in on this, is I know sometimes with doing this work, like mediumship, for example, when you're doing a mediumship reading, it can be sometimes intense, the energy, maybe the spirit or like the just the energy in general that you're connecting with. Um,
Mhm.
how does that work for you guys when you're like connecting and it feels so intense, or maybe there's so much energy? How do you guys deal with that when you do a reading?
Oh wow.
You want to go?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think the biggest thing for me is to acknowledge that energy and that intensity and respect. Ultimately, it's about respecting spirit in whatever form it's coming. The energy is intense or the energy is subtle. Um, for me, it's just about making sure that, like Kenny said, the message that spirit is trying to express or trying to communicate is delivered as cleanly as appropriately as possible, as kindly as possible, so that it allows for that healing or allows for that comfort or sense of safety. The intense ones are, I mean, they take a toll, you know. We're conduits, but we're also energetic beings ourselves. So taking on that kind of energy with that level of intensity that you're describing, it can be exhausting. And I think that's where Kenny and I are very focused on, energetic hygiene or spiritual hygiene and making sure that the energy that we communicate with or we commune with, we respect and we release and don't hold on to it or don't allow it to stay with us longer than the message is intended to be there.
right, right. And that makes a lot of sense. Did you have anything you wanted to add, Kenny, or?
Yeah, to that, just, I mean, when we start our lives, something that we do that's a little different than other people is we usually start out with an energy cleanse. And Morgan does a slight bit of a healing for people. And I can let her explain that, but it's called the amygdala switch. And we just feel that starting it out that way is a great way to clean some of the energy up in the room. It also gives everyone the opportunity to say, I'm having a rough day. So they have, if they need a chance to talk or come up, we can get them in line for that. And then sometimes we end it the same way, depending on how heavy it actually has been.
Yeah. And the amygdala switch is something that was invented by a very talented healer named Sunhee Park. And the amygdala is the part of the brain that stores the memories of threatening or frightening situations. It's your fear or your threat center, so that you can recognize similar patterns and avoid danger down the road. And the amygdala switch takes the negative things that are very prevalent in that part of the brain, kind of pushes them to the back and pulls forward more positive, more reinforced safety type feelings and emotions. And it gives people a sense of balance at the end. A lot of the people, if they're not having an energetic or an emotional crisis, find that they just can't think of anything negative at all after we've done the switch for them. And that's a really nice feeling, and it just level sets the room, allows for kind of a nice solid baseline of balanced energy in the space.
Wow, that's incredible. I'm gonna have to learn
Yeah.
more about that.
Yeah,
Um,
it's amazing.
yeah, I know Kenny talked about once before how you guys always start your lives with like energy sessions or energy healing in the beginning,
Hmm.
which is incredible because many people need stuff like that because, many
Yeah.
people when they're going through their days, going to the store, going to work, wherever that is, people pick up on energies all over, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it just drags them down constantly, and they can't maybe figure out how to get rid of that. So that's incredible.
Right.
Um, so good for you guys doing that. I also want to talk about, and I know everyone has many experiences, and I really was excited to ask this question for both of you. Um, my experience starting out was very interesting with mediumship and knowing that I had this gift of connecting with the other side. It's a whole story, but I really want to hear how like you guys started, like how you instantly knew you as a medium, how you knew that you could see or you can hear or
Okay.
feel spirit. Um, just kind of give me and everyone who might be watching just how you started and how this, developed for the both of you.
Sure. Kenny?
So, I was fortunate enough that my mother was extremely gifted, and from a very young age, I started having visions and seeing things. In fact, I'll never forget the first vision I actually had. It was her passing away, but I was too young to understand that it was not happening like tomorrow. It happened exactly how I saw it, though. But you can imagine having your 5-year-old come up to you and say, Mommy, I saw you die. Like that could be a little weird, but she was very gifted, and she trained me to some extent. But she was very reserved as far as like teaching a child how to use abilities that could lead them into danger at times, and was very respectful towards the boundaries and safety things that come with it, which can be hard to teach a teenager who might secretly smoke at the Dairy Queen with his friends, or it's kids don't always listen or follow instructions, and so she got very ill, so I didn't get completely trained by her. I was fortunate enough to know enough from her, but my training I've been very fortunate that I've met so many people along my path, through the medical field, healers mainly from there, but also I've met some really amazing mentors out there. Lori Walker being one of them. She's huge, and I love that she's very strict and forward. She actually convinced me to go forward and go public. She's also a nurse practitioner, and that was very difficult for me because in the medical world, if sometimes we're looked at, if we do stuff like this, that we're maybe quacks, and it already looked bad enough because I switched from emergency medicine to mental health. So you never know. But yeah, no, I am now currently still mentoring with someone. And I think that this is something that we constantly have to learn. And I think it's something that we're consistently developing and need to only get better at. And I think that it's always great to learn new procedures from that. But that's kind of my story. So,
Yeah.
Morgan.
Wow.
So my story is a lot less formal. I lost my father when I was 5.5, and can remember, I can see it now, sitting on the couch in my living room at that young age and looking down the hall and seeing him and smelling him. And then years later, when my grandmother passed, being able to hear her voice and smelling her scent as well in the space. My cousins and my aunts and my mom have always had prophetic dreams and mediumship dreams, and I never did, and I didn't understand it. And it was only in the last, I don't know, 6, 8 months that I really started turning back to my spirituality and looking into it. And I asked someone, I was like, why don't I have these dreams? Everybody in my family has these dreams. And the person said, because you see it when you're awake. And that really clicked with me. and I started seeking mentorship and development. And Kenny and I are both working with the same mentor at this point, and it's an absolutely unbelievable journey to just grow and develop and understand what I've always known without knowing that I knew. Um, and then the healing aspect of it is I am a medical intuitive. So the way I learned about it is that I had folks in my life that I would sit down next to on the couch and I would just touch their shoulder or rub their shoulder and they would ask me, "How did you know that was hurting me?" And I didn't. I just something drew me to that part of you or, rub their knee or whatever like that. And then once I recognized it for what it was, I started studying Reiki and was attuned to Reiki master teacher back in 2000, I think. Um, and now just that, as I said earlier, that is really the main part of not the main focus, but it is the biggest driver for me is healing folks through any of these modalities.
Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible, both stories. And I also agree completely with, what you said about this is just mainly about healing because it is. Um, and that's what matters most about this type of work is providing that for people who are grieving.
Mhm.
Um, Now I want to kind of go to something that's a little controversial with a lot of people. Um, a lot of people talk, or I don't know about you guys, but I have gained some haters in my comments over the past, year that I've been on Tik or 2 years that I've been on TikTok. And in the comment section, people like to come on, or trolls or haters like to come on and voice their opinions and not be so nice. Or like to repost, your content and call you false names or whatever.
Mhm.
What do you guys say or think, or even say to the critics or haters that, come on the TikTok platform or any platform and, call psychic mediums evil or demonic or, just all this stuff? What would you guys say or you know, say to them right now? Because I know it happens to me all the time. And at first, it was a little hurtful. And I was like, but then I realized, if I'm going to be public with this stuff, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys say to people like that?
I usually handle it, I think.
Personally, we,
A lot
go
of
ahead.
times I do. I depending on what it is, I think a lot of people that come in with the whole, repent and turn to Jesus and, those kinds of folks. And I respond with, I'm glad that you have a relationship with Christ and that's wonderful for you. And that is what you need it to be. And God bless and have a wonderful life. But if you're not comfortable here, you should probably keep scrolling. So for me, it's very
Mm,
much I'm not going to give it air. I'm not going to give it energy. I'm not going to engage with people who just want to come on and criticize or be negative or things like that. It's the people that need to find us, find us. We're
mm,
we're building a
Right.
community of people who genuinely care about each other, who
mm,
a lot of the people that find us are empathetic themselves. So
mm,
they're coming to us because they see something in us that they also feel and they want to understand better and all of that. And the people that want to come on and be hateful, and I feel bad for them. I feel sad for them. I think that that speaks to them more than it does to us, to any of us that do this work.
Yeah.
And I saw the post that you made in response to your haters, and I think that you couldn't have handled it any better, that you handled it with grace and integrity, and you didn't stoop to that level of ugliness. And I think that that's, to me, that is the best approach that any of us can take. We have people within our own spiritual community who are tearing each other down. And that's even sadder to me.
Mhm.
Um, because there's room for all of us. We all do things slightly differently. Some of us do things very similarly, but there are so many people that need help. There are how many doctors in the world, how many nurses in the world? I I don't think that the type of healing that we do is all that different. So it's okay that there are a lot of us, and it's okay that we don't do things all the same way. The people that need to find us, the people that need to find you, Ethan, are going to find us. And
Mm.
that's the driver. That's the important part. And the people that want to be hateful can live in that misery.
When we deal with things pretty similarly. I use comedy to pretty much handle every situation in life, even literally. But I actually, truly, I feel bad for those people. I
Hmm.
feel bad that well, you've got the trolls, and the trolls are people that are sitting behind a fake profile. How sad does your life have to be for you to take the
Yeah,
time and energy to just be mean? Like they must be really hurt people. That's
right.
truly how I feel about that. I feel bad for
Yeah.
them. And
Hmm.
then you have people that attack you religiously, which, um, you know, more power to them if they want to say what they're feeling, and if they really disagree. Okay, well, I'll listen for about 5 seconds, and then I'm going to go back to the person and give them the energy that they deserve. The one thing that will make me change my tone is if I'm in the middle of helping someone, or we're in the middle of helping someone and have a deep connection, and they're just in there to try to ruin that connection.
Right.
Then, yeah, another side of us comes out and handles it a little differently.
Yeah.
So,
You got to go. Bye-bye.
mhm.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think both of those, ways are incredibly right and accurate the way to be with those people. Because here lately, the past few months, I've experienced a lot of hate in my comment sections, name calling, and I even had a fellow psychic medium on the TikTok platform repost, who is a pretty big psychic medium and quite older than me,
Mm,
repost my stuff and call me fake because they disagree with something I said. But, it's all about grace and professionality, how you use, your platform. And that's how I want to be when I do that kind of stuff as well, like you guys,
yeah.
holding it with grace, ease, and professionalism.
Hmm.
Because, people like that, who are also in this work but act like that, that just shows how, it's shows to the people that when they're acting like that, who's the more professional one here.
Right.
But I do want to kind of go to a question that a lot of people ask me that I'd really like to get your guys' opinion on.
Mm.
Um, have you guys, I get a lot of questions about evil and dark energy or negative energy, and even to the point where people ask me about demons. Is there ever a point where you guys have connected to like or where you felt something come in a connection that's like that felt dark, evil, or even possibly demonic?
Definitely.
Mhm.
Definitely. Um, I think in those moments, for me personally, I lean on my spirit team.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of times they give me a symbol or a signal like a big fat stop sign or nope. And Kenny and I have been ridiculed by another medium who happened to be in our room when this happened. There was somebody in our space. We were, I'm going to say we were intending to do a reading for, who was manipulating the energy. um, in a very negative way, and we sussed her out real quick. And I vocalized, I said, my team is saying no. Like, I'm not going to read you. And I'm sorry that if that's disappointing, but we offered to read her offline, but not on the live. And we, as after she left the room, we said, okay, guys, we're going to do a cleanse. There was something going on there that, did not feel good. We want to make sure that everybody, our stance is that we first and foremost keep ourselves and our people safe. So anybody that's going to spend time in our room, anybody that's going to spend time with us, our first focus is keeping everybody safe energetically. And if that means somebody's come into the room who may have some kind of negative motive, some kind of manipulation going on, some kind of attachment, God forbid, we're going to shut it down real fast, make everybody safe, and then move on to the next space. We were ridiculed by this other person and said how unprofessionally we handled it. That's a matter of opinion. Our focus was keeping our folks safe and handling what was going on. It set red flags for all of us immediately. So I think it's kind of a triage process, right? You figure out what's happening, you handle it real fast, and then you deal with the aftermath after that. So keep it as professional as you can, but at the same time, don't allow it to take over us as readers, as seers, or any of the people that are in that space and sharing that space with us.
Right.
Kenny, you want to add to it?
I definitely, when using like the word dark spirit or a dark entity, like it can be used in a lot of different ways. Demonic stuff, that person has to be doing some really bad stuff to be getting to that point. But one thing that I have encountered, which was quite a heavy thing, was a father spirit of like, I had the daughter and she felt something around her. She was actually having like physical scratches and things that didn't make sense. And a father and his brother who hurt this woman when she was very young, when she was a little girl, very badly. That's probably one of the darkest things I've encountered on a live session, and very quickly had to handle and end it and bring it onto another platform because it was actually so heavy that I felt some of the things she was feeling. I knew she wasn't making it up or that she wasn't crazy because I felt it. As of recently, we did a private reading where a photo was sent to us and something came of that photo. The spirit that was in the photo ended up here. And we had to do some things for that. So it does happen.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing, I'm sorry, Ethan, the biggest thing is
okay.
having the protections in place as securely as we can. And with that level of safety in place, when things do happen, I'm not going to say they're easier to deal with, but it's easier to sense when it's taking place. And then we are able to more quickly adjust and correct.
Right. Yeah, that's incredibly right because I make sure I do a lot of the protection stuff as well because of simply the, I guess, negative energies or entities that might come in or come through. And it's important to do that to protect yourself, protect your energy, and especially the people around you. So it's a great point to make and to let people know. And I also want to ask you guys to talk about your services. I want to just allow you guys to talk about your services and what you offer for people. And yeah.
Thank you. Kenny, this is you, babe.
So, a lot of our services that we offer to our people are mental health related. And one of them is what we call our counselship. And these are usually people who are gifted. And it's like the step before mentorship. And we deal with a lot of people who experience symptoms like the gift clairsentience. They experience symptoms, anxieties, they absorb other energies, and they don't know how to control it. We identify what gifts they have. And we work hand in hand with actually who me and Morgan are mentoring with ourselves. And right now, currently, she has a wait list for her mentorship program, which she's basically saying a halt to. And the only way to get into her mentorship program now is to go through our counselship. We work pretty closely with her and with the people along the way. These are individual sessions to work on trauma that might be blocking your gifts, to understand your gifts better, and to understand yourself better, to be at a healthier point, to learn more about yourself. Of course, obviously, we offer psychic readings, mediumship readings. We kind of put those hand in hand just when we do a reading together. But a big part of what we do is the healing, and the true healer though here is Morgan. If it's an energetic healing, I contact her. We do it. I do have a lot of training in energetic healings, but she's just so much better at it. So let the best person win there. So, but yeah, those are some of the things we offer. And I mean, we do the lives, which we don't charge on there for. We just do those we try to keep those as many reads as we possibly can. But we offer a lot of free readings to people on there still, like that don't have access to it or can't afford it.
Right. That's incredible. I like how you guys include mental health because I'm a big advocate for mental health as well. I actually ran on for student government at my college. I ran for senator on my platform. I based it on mental health. So I love that you guys include that. But I want to thank you guys so much for coming on today and joining me and talking about your guys' platform and your journey in this spiritual work. And make sure all of you who are watching go follow both Kenny and Morgan and watch their lives. They're incredible. But thank you guys once again so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for
Thanks
having
for
us.
having us.